Wednesday night, and you know what else that means. House Show Live. And a big week of series finales. Not even season finales. Series finales.
Everything. Lots of endings this week.
Everything ended. Big ones. But coming off a long holiday weekend, a lot of wrestling this past weekend. A lot of wrestling. But I don't know. Weirdly enough, I feel like they had big moments, but I do feel like WWE did steal the weekend again with the show that I don't ever really fully watch. But that being said, there was a pretty big moment to me anyway on Double or Nothing. The return of Chris Statlander to kill the streak. The Jade Cargill streak is over at 60.
60 wins?
60 wins. 60 wins on a night that she won. She beat Taya. And then she did an open challenge after the match. Straight up SummerSlam 1988 booking.
Wow.
Honky Tonk Man, just give me anybody.
Oh, they did the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, but it was Chris Statlander from outer space. Now she's back from outer space. I'm surprised Tony Khan didn't license that now that I just said it out loud. But but I know you were just kind of keeping up, but you didn't get to fully watch anything or know any of the results. We had the end of the bloodline, the end of the streak, and then Brock, as expected, beat the crap out of Cody.
No, I didn't see any of it.
Yeah.
I haven't been keeping up with wrestling.
It has been tough, man. But Cody's so over in WWE that now, like on Twitter, today they were like, here's all the places that you can come see Cody Rhodes live. And it just basically gave his schedule. That's over, man. It was just a dedicated post to Cody. Just say, come see Cody live here.
Where can we see him? Where's he at?
Oh, it just gave the house show tour as well as the TV tapings, and then he's going to London. But he's still so over, man. He is so over. Saudi Arabia loved the American Nightmare. Him and Sammy got the biggest pops.
I thought Sammy couldn't go. I didn't realize.
Yeah, I don't know. Anthony, what's up, man? Yeah, they did something. He made some kind of deal, and they made a huge deal. They did a vlog afterwards of his return to Saudi Arabia, and then he went to Mecca during, the Holy Land, and they had a film vlog. So it was a big deal to let him in. And even Kevin Owens, like, this is the person everybody's been waiting for, and he got a monster pop. So, yeah, it was cool to see. And Anthony, thanks for joining us this past weekend. We also had a big show. We were on Rainbow Fright's live stream to celebrate her 1,000 victory. Damn, I always step on her sting. You were close, man. I thought you were going to take it home. I think a few times. Nick, who loves horror out of Canada, you can check out his YouTube page.
Yeah, those were some tough questions.
They were really tough.
And those were some really knowledgeable movie folks on there.
Yeah.
I can't believe they got that Nightmare on Elm Street one by just saying it happens at night and in a mental hospital.
I was proud of that one.
That could have been so many movies.
I had two that we just literally, him and I typed it at the exact same time. And when that flashed in my brain, I had no idea. He just jumped in front of me like that. So, but it was fun. Her stuff she had a good time. We have to investigate I cheated a little bit because since I wasn't in the studio, we were in the remote studio. I had a 50-foot long Ethernet cable that I just I could not risk the wireless dropping. I definitely, there was part of me is like, oh, I'm not going to be in the studio. I can make this work. And I'm like, nope. I literally strung it like a laundry string across the house to be plugged in to make sure we never dropped.
Well, we didn't notice a single glitch.
Thank goodness.
So well done.
I didn't want to be the glitch. I already feel like a glitch on this planet. I don't want to feel like a glitch in a stream. But yeah, big weekend. Film-wise, to me, it felt like a slower weekend, and maybe it's just because the big movie drop this weekend was not geared towards me.
The Little Mermaid?
The Little Mermaid was not for me. And the only reason I even know about it is for whatever reason, both sides in the culture war are weaponizing a mermaid.
Right.
Only on planet Earth in 2023 can you weaponize a mermaid.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just like I'm completely lost. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get any of the attacks.
Well, you were talking about earlier.
Sides.
You were talking about earlier. You were saying that you had heard it bombed or it did this. I don't think it bombed.
I don't think it did. Yeah,
I think
so
just
confusing.
folks are trying to create the narrative that it bombed for some reason, just to prove their point.
Which I don't even really know.
Which is that people don't like it, I guess.
Because people just didn't want it to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, and we're going to talk about this in a little while. You know, we were at...
But why make it about culture? Why don't we just not like them because they suck?
Exactly.
Like, isn't that enough reason? We don't have to invent reasons.
Yeah. That's what Joe was talking about on Terror Tuesday last night. For some reason, well, horror movies get remade. People, like, lose their mind, but a lot of other stuff, they don't. But that being said, when it's Disney and there's a remake involved, that is like, you know, a hand grenade in church.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand it.
And these are like, they're not exactly like live action remakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a live action. Like, you take The Lion King, for example. That's not live action. That's all animated.
Yeah.
They didn't go, put lions on, marks and have them run from spot to spot and, add mouths over them, Conan O'Brien style.
Yes.
Which would have been a good movie. But it's all animated. So it's like they take an animated movie and then do everything they can to make an animated movie not look like an animated movie, but still be animated. Because they have to animate it.
That's a really good point. It just makes it look live action, but it's not live action.
No. Like, even Little Mermaid is not live action.
No. She doesn't have a fin stripped to her legs, and she's not swimming underwater.
Yeah.
She's not even underwater.
No. She's not even in the ball pit from Avatar. You know what I mean? So all these culture wars get interjected into that, and I don't want to give that any air.
Yeah, we don't even like to. This is the closest we've ever talked about.
We're not on moviedirtsheets.com over here.
We don't.
But like I think it probably didn't do as well as they had hoped. But nothing is really doing as well because we're finding that there's too many movies this summer.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, because it earned worldwide $200 million. I don't know what it cost. No idea. It's got to be up there, but that's in its first weekend. And this stuff is going to keep going because there's a lot of people with their little kiddos. They're not going to look at culture wars. They're going to let's just go watch The Little Mermaid. Let's just get out of the house.
But I mean, whoever the target audience is, I guess just kids. Is it, female kids, male kids, all kids? Is this for all kids?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because here's the thing. Spider-Man comes out this week.
It does, yep.
And that's going to knock Little Mermaid out of all the theaters, right? Every theater only has one IMAX screen. So
yeah.
What are they going to put on the IMAX? It's not going to be Little Mermaid.
And no pressure on this, but that is being labeled as the best comic book movie of all time. Not best animated comic book movie, best comic book movie of all time. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's a lot of pressure, but I think it's going to take the weekend, next weekend for sure, because Little Mermaid still won, but Fast X was hot on its tail, of making money. There's really no other competition. I think Super Mario Brothers kind of tamed down, so you're either going to get your audience, the kiddos, to see Little Mermaid or the kiddos to see Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, and then you've got Flash in 2 weeks. So
oh man, dude,
it's too crowded right now.
Yeah,
there's too many movies. Why was there not one of these movies last week when there was nothing going? Well, all there was the Burt Kreischer movie,
The Machine.
That was a wide open lane. Why wouldn't somebody jump in that spot? Why wouldn't you do that? Is that a thing? Like, if you changed your release date last minute, would that throw things off so bad?
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, yeah, it's just like there's some kind of weird territorial thing that's going on. But yeah, I never understood that. They just wouldn't say, you know what, let's switch it. I think we can beat the Machine.
Yeah.
Which, that Machine, I didn't go see it. I wanted to see it. I'm tempted to see it. I like Burt the Conqueror, but there's just part of me that feels like it's like 5 years too late.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
But I didn't go see it. But speaking of Flash, man, I got to just I am so excited for the Flash movie, more than I realized I was going to be. And it 100% has to do with Sasha Calle as Supergirl. Every time I see that trailer, the more I look at her, I never would have thought this would have happened, but like, I feel okay. And did you see, she got the nod from Henry Cavill. She got the nod.
Yeah.
He did not burn it.
Well, I mean, does he have an option? What is he going to thumbs down it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a way he could, right? Because he's thumbs downing The Witcher, for season 4. I mean, he's not endorsing that. He's burning that bridge, but he's not burning the James Gunn bridge.
No.
But I don't know. I grew up. Helen Slater was our Supergirl, right?
Right.
That spinoff, but I just had no idea how great she was going to look, and just like the small scenes, I feel like it's going to be really emotional. So I was already all in for Michael Keaton, but seeing her, I'm just really just marking out for her, and then of course the cameos. But yeah, I'm super excited about The Flash. It is. I feel like it was a weird couple of movie weekends, but now we're going to start picking it up, right? We're going to get Spider-Man, Flash, Indiana Jones, Bing, Bang, Boom, right in a row. So
Mission Impossible, I think, is in there somewhere.
Mission Impossible is in there too, which I didn't realize how much people loved Mission Impossible.
Oh, people love Mission Impossible a lot.
People love Mission Impossible, man. I think you think that's going to break some records? You think he has that Top Gun momentum?
I think he does.
For him?
I think he does. I think Top Gun helped him a lot. I think that put Tom Cruise back on some people's radar, and they're going to want to go see Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Not to mention they're good movies. They've gotten progressively better each one.
Yeah. No, they really.
What's up, Mike?
What's up, Mike? Yeah, he oddly feels more excited about Mission than any other mention that are upcoming. Yeah, it does feel different. It feels, because remember the difference between Mission Impossible, the first one, right? And wasn't that Brian De Palma?
He did do that one, yeah.
He did the first one. The second one felt very John Woo.
Yeah, that was John Woo.
And the third one was a little bit more intimate, like
that
the
was,
side shots and
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, and they just jumped all over the place, and I feel like they're going to another direction. We're long past anyone even remembering Peter Graves' Mission Impossible TV show.
Yeah,
it's well beyond that. But yeah, it's gonna.
Now it's all about McQuarrie and Cruise. I agree. I'm probably more excited about that one more than these other ones, honestly, because it still feels like an original IP. Like, I feel like we don't know what to expect. We can expect to be surprised on that one. Like, look, here's the thing. Indy, we all know what's going to happen.
Oh, I'm scared.
We all know how it's going to go. We don't need to address it out loud, but we all know how it's going to go when we go watch it. And we're just going to buy our ticket, we're going to leave, and we're going to keep to ourselves afterwards. Because that's just how we do it. Respectfully,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Flash will probably be whatever, but the thing is, Flash has a weird scent to it right now because you notice no one's promoting the movie.
Yeah, no, Ezra's not.
Nobody is on a talk show promoting the movie.
No,
not a single person from the cast. Nobody's on Twitter. Nobody's on Hot Ones. Nothing's happening. So it's just a weird. It's got a strange vibe to it where it's almost like it's not enticing me to go watch it.
Yeah, I thought that's why they started pushing the Sasha narrative, and just like Henry Cavill endorses Sasha as Supergirl, and that was the closest that we started getting to endorsement because I think James
the
Gunn,
guy who got fired as Superman, endorses Supergirl.
that's all we got so far.
That's not much. But,
James Gunn is still in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 mode. Which,
he's still winning with that one.
Oh man, and it's still sinking in. I was listening to the soundtrack on the way here, and so far that's the movie to beat this summer easily, without a doubt. But I am
B Rose.
B Rose, what's up?
Mission Impossible has gotten better with each film minus MI2. MI2 is the Tokyo Drift. Look, I got a soft spot for MI2. That was John Woo. It's very much like, if you look at it, if you ignore reality and just kind of look at it as a John Woo movie, it's kind of good. Watch it back to back with like Hard Boiled or something. Watch it subtitled.
Is that a minor machete cut? Minor machete cut for Mission Impossible?
Yeah, just watch it in Mandarin with subtitles.
What's his usually the trailer ends with what his big stunt is going to be. And there is another big stunt, right? Every trailer, whether he's jumping into that hydro funnel.
Well, Mike just said it. He jumps a motorcycle off a cliff into a base jump as the big stunt.
Oh, yes, that's it. Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
Well, Brad Bird made up for John Carter by saving Mission Impossible.
He did. I wish he would have done another one. I liked the one he did.
That's July too, right? Is it June or is it July?
I think that might be July. So we've got 2 solid months of stuff coming up.
Yeah.
What else is left? Is that all the major ones?
Then we have
Transformers. Which I think looks pretty good.
Are Transformers about to have a resurgence?
It actually looks pretty good. I don't know if Michael Bay is not directing these, but I kind of like the vibe of the new ones, the new ads I've seen.
Yeah, me too. I totally had that feeling.
Feels good, right? Like I would kind of like to see that.
Yeah, something did feel different.
Yeah.
Did you watch Ben Affleck's DVD commentary for Armageddon that is making the rounds again?
Again, no. I remember seeing it in the past. It's a different clip.
I don't remember if it's a different clip. It was the whole when he went up to Michael Bay and asked why it was easier to send oil drillers to space than it was to train astronauts how to dig into a rock.
Yeah, I remember that clip.
And Michael Bay was getting pissed at him. He's just like, it's just a movie. Just leave it alone, Ben. Just leave it alone. And it was just great. I couldn't figure out. I was like, is this real DVD commentary? Are you allowed to make fun of Michael Bay on there?
That's a good one. Another good DVD commentary is the Conan the Barbarian commentary with Schwarzenegger and John Milnes just getting hammered.
I didn't hear that.
You should listen to that one.
Do people quality check or even gut check the DVD commentary, or do they just throw it on there and leave it be?
I'm sure they do. That was early in the DVD commentary development.
Our horror movie release that's coming out is The Boogeyman that's coming out this weekend. Are you going to see The Boogeyman?
I don't know.
Well, I shouldn't say that's the only one because the week after we get The Blackening is finally coming out.
The Blackening?
You remember The Blackening?
No, what is that?
The comedy horror thriller. It's the
it's like a Damon Wayans movie?
It feels a little bit more serious than that. Like it's not going to be a spoof, but there's definitely it almost has a bodies feel to it. But the log line is we can't all die first. So you remember that trailer? It came out a while ago.
I remember that. I remember that trailer now that you mention it.
7 black friends who go away for the weekend only to find themselves trapped in a cabin with a killer who has a vendetta. Will their street smarts and knowledge of horror movies help them stay alive? So I don't know. It looks really good. It looks really good. So between that and The Boogeyman, I feel like horror took a nap for a little while, because it was doing so well, and now it's coming back.
Yeah.
So got some good stuff. But let's jump over to the reason for the season. We had, weirdly enough, coincidental, whatever you want to call it, a universal alignment, the way it was coded. We had a battle of SNL alumni, both having series finales. Not competing for ratings, but Jason Sudeikis and Bill Hader, great shows. Ted Lasso and Barry, respectively, both had series finales. Barry is 100% the series finale. Ted Lasso is the rumored season finale. So I don't know. Let's just throw the spoiler warning up there now.
Sure. For folks who don't see it, it's just their own fault.
Yeah. But B Rose said it. We don't deserve so many great shows at a given time. Like right now, movies were firing on all cylinders. And I'm going to throw Succession in there as SNL alumni-ish because I feel like Kieran Culkin is an honorary, very famous SNL because he not only did the hosting gig, but when Macaulay hosted it when he was a kid, he was on what's his name, Shoulders.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was part of it too. So that's 3 big finales.
Big show. What's up, Arun?
Arun says, spoiler warning, now I have to leave. Yeah. These are, if you watch Barry, Ted Lasso, all big spoilers, Succession, big spoilers. So, but let's start with Barry. Barry is a great show. Was a great show. And let's face it, the way this show started, as soon as he took out the cop, was his acting teacher's girlfriend, you knew the show just was going in a direction that it wasn't going to, and they lived happily ever after. It was just impossible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it was always dark, right? I mean, you knew something was going to happen. He was a hitman. He killed several people throughout the season.
Yes. But it was still a pretty shocking season and a very wild, shocking ending.
You talking about this season or the first season?
No, this final season was wild. I mean, you knew when he got arrested. Every season, like the way it ended, and when it ended last season, when he went to jail, I had no idea where it was going to go. But there was no way you could have predicted this. And it felt like another Barry season until that whole Fred Armisen scene as the assassin that somehow snuck in there. He's like, hey, that guy's here to kill me. Hey, he's going to take me out. That guy's going to take me. That was the strangest scene. What a great cameo for Fred Armisen, too. But after that, I just feel like it just went wild. Like, did not expect this at all.
Yeah. Well, like I said, to me, it felt like they had another season of Barry in the bank. It felt like 2 seasons crammed into one on this one.
And
it just kind of sped through it.
And Mike said the season was like an art piece, was not afraid to give a character a ton of range. I didn't expect the time jump at all. I did not, because like I said, it started off with a regular season with Cristobal and NoHo Hank comparing, their crime empire to Dave and Buster's, and then the sand trap. Did you expect that sand trap was wild too? They just got all the hitmen together and took them out on the sand trap. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect any of the stuff with the Cristobal because they had this whole arc of how they were going to save their relationship. So it's almost hard to say that this was a comedy because it had very funny stuff that maybe you should or shouldn't be laughing on, but it had a lot of tragic stuff in there. I mean, NoHo Hanks at the ending, that was very, it was sad. It was powerful when, Raven was calling him out. It's just like, you just admit that you had him whacked and we'll let him go. It was very Sopranos feeling that, wow, this is strong. Yeah. It was strong performances.
Well, I don't think this was a comedy.
No,
I think you are assuming it's comedy because Bill Hader is the lead actor in it,
right?
But this was never meant to be a comedy. It's about a hitman with PTSD.
Yeah,
it's just casting a comedian gives you that sort of misdirect.
It did, and Henry Winkler's, as Kusano,
exactly.
he was accidentally funny all the time. But I don't know. What were your thoughts on the ending? Oh, Mike said giving NoHo Hank his own show stat. He killed it here. And on Gotham as Zaz. Yeah, NoHo Hank, he was the standout to me. I know Henry Winkler got all the awards and recognition for this, but I always walk around and I can't see the name Barry without saying Betty. just like Noah Hank does.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, he stole the show, so 100% give him his own show. But what were your feelings on the finale?
I mean, I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. It kind of felt to me that it was like on fast forward. There was just so much stuff happening. Every scene advanced the story so much, right? And then you've got another time jump within this episode. It just felt like it was moving so fast, and what was it? The 30 minutes blew by. It felt like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. It was really fast. I don't know if we'll ever be able to listen to the song "I Saw the Sign" when he was just walking through whatever that was, Walmart, with like all the guns, and nobody even like batted an eye. There was like another scene like laughing, but maybe you shouldn't have laughed. But did you expect him to get whacked? Did you expect that? Like, I was like, when I saw the title was "Oh Wow," I had no idea that was going to be his last words.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a swerve. You thought Kusno was going to maybe commit suicide.
Yeah.
That they're going to walk in on him committing suicide, and then sort of when he shoots Barry, that comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it really did. And I liked Barry a lot, and there was like, I don't know how else it could have ended. You know, it wasn't going to end well for Barry. There was no way. He had to be the sacrifice for all the bad that got done. But in a way, right, with the PTSD, they were kind of shaping him as he was also a victim who was victimizing. So you were hoping there was going to be some kind of redemption for him. And then he went too far in the redemption direction to where the point where Sally just didn't even want to see him. And then she's like, well, maybe I'm a murderer too. The whole choking that dude in the bathroom. Like, I was like, is she going to kill him? Because then she decided that maybe she's a killer.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, he does get his redemption, though, because he ends up becoming a hero in the film version of his life story.
That's true.
Played by Jim Cummings, who I love. That's like one of my favorite actors out there right now.
Oh, really?
Favorite actor, probably.
Yeah, it was great casting.
He's awesome.
I guess Daniel Day-Lewis did pass after things changed with Kusano.
So Barry ends up becoming a hero in the movie version of his life.
You're right.
So he is redeemed. But he's not a good guy, but he tried to be good.
He tried.
But he's not a good guy.
No.
And I think you can't make the assumption that he's a good guy.
Yeah. You're right. So the redemption came in the end with the word block that he was buried in the National Cemetery with full honors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Mike says Sally's alcohol abuse phase is really well portrayed. It was like seeing a show Sally that may have produced for herself. Yeah, because she lost it, right?
Yeah.
She definitely lost it, and she came around. What about their son, John? What do you think they were trying to portray with their son afterwards? Like, was the son going to be dark? Was he going to was he just taking the information as it come? Was he us? Was he just the viewer?
Well, yeah, he is sort of the viewer, but he's also the one. He's one of the folks. Remember, because he's shown the movie by a friend of his. He's going to buy into the narrative that his dad was a hero, not a killer. That's there for him. And like, he smiles at the end, kind of cracks a little smile. Cause like, oh wait, my dad is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think he's going dark. I think for him that was a bit of a happy ending.
Yeah, I think they foreshadowed a little with Abe Lincoln's complicated legacy. He's got a complicated legacy. I think he was going to end up with a complicated legacy. To me, the whole tragedy in this was Kusano, right? Like, was he ever like a full-on heel other than like he was scared shitless, and then he took the money?
I mean, isn't he though a full-on heel? What did he do that was good? He was just He was just a lovable, goofy guy from our perspective. But Kusno, you remember, he had no friends. No one liked him in the industries, which is why he ended up teaching acting at a community college.
Yes.
He screws up multiple times. He does exactly what his wife's or his girlfriend's dead girlfriend's dad tells him not to do. He takes the drug money. He basically does the wrong thing at every step.
He did. His ego.
So I don't think he's a good guy. This is not a movie. This is not a show about good people.
No, but he is serving time for the murder of his girlfriend, which he didn't commit. He's also serving time for murdering Barry, which he did commit. So it is going down in history that he was in on it, even though he technically wasn't. So he made a lot of mistakes, and then he got pulled into those mistakes, shaped him into your mistakes are going to end up costing you, and now he's life in prison. Now, he also did shoot his son.
Yeah.
Right?
He's not a good person.
Yeah.
I don't think he's... I think he's... Even though he ends up with a different version of punishment, he didn't really do anything positive in the show.
Yeah.
You know? I don't think he was ever portrayed as a good person. He's always... everything he did was for self-interest.
That's true. He was definitely an egomaniac. He was a narcissist. For sure. Classic example of die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become a villain. Absolutely true. Yeah, he just made too many mistakes. For sure. But I still love the show. I still think it was a great show. I mean,
No, of course it doesn't affect whether or not you like the show. It's just yeah. It's
it was a bit of a downer for an ending, for sure.
It though?
Well, I mean, I guess now that you say that, the
son gets to see his dad be a hero. I don't know. I'm just like, it's complicated emotions they're trying to pull out of you. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's the better way. Instead of a downer ending, maybe it's a complicated legacy. The entire show for the season 4, to me, it feels very complicated.
Yeah.
But you're conflicted because, like you said, was Sally a good person? Like, maybe, but was she bad enough that she should have got what she deserved? Did the punishments fit the crime for each of these characters?
I mean, I think Sally kind of ended up where she would have ended up anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think her fate changed. She got involved in this whole thing and she did some things, but I think she is an innocent in a way, unlike Barry and Kusno, right? Because it's just as feasible that she would have ended up teaching drama at high school if she'd never met Barry. This could still have been her fate.
Yeah.
So she still, she ended up where she was going to be, and I think her main sort of takeaway at the end is like she was not interested in a relationship at all with anybody. She just wanted to work on her craft. When that guy kind of asks her out at the end, she's like, "No."
Yeah, she was done,
and that's it.
I did one of my favorite scenes this season was, besides the botched hit in prison, was when she was trying to steal the role from that really tall actress, and she was just like standing in front of her. It just goes to show maybe the moral of this everybody in this is narcissism is dangerous and it can get you put in prison for murder. Because there was nobody that was not narcissistic other than maybe Kusano's son. Yeah. But everybody was out for themselves. It was very Hollywood feeling where everybody was out for themselves. But yeah, good stuff. Again, HBO/Max, bringing the heat. But let's jump into the next one, which I'm going to I need you to pitch me on it because I did not watch it, but I know a lot about it, is Succession.
I didn't watch it either.
Oh, you didn't?
No. I just know it's relevant in the culture right now because it's a big one that ended. The only thing that I know about that I was interested was that the Brian Cox died actually a few episodes ago.
Oh, okay.
And not in the finale. But I do know, spoiler, do y'all watch this show? Anybody? All three of you?
Yeah.
Probably nobody. I know in the end, none of the kids
I feel like people are watching.
No, my mom watches it. My sister watches. Everyone's into this.
I know Mike doesn't watch it either. Yeah, I've not seen it. But it does feel like it had a little bit of buzz.
Oh, it had a lot of buzz. Extremely popular.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not one. I mean, I've only up to season 2 on that one.
What'd they go? 4 seasons?
4 seasons.
4 seasons.
Yeah.
But in the end, similar to Barry, like all of them had deplorable properties, and it cost them. Is that the gist of it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have told you I didn't actually watch it.
Oh no, I thought you watched it.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I don't watch it.
Got it. But all right, then let's jump to the big one. To me, the one that stuck the landing was the show that I never thought I would love is Ted Lasso. And man, I was maybe it was because I was watching it at like 5 a.m. after after a rough night, but I just got really, really emotional. Like every portion of this show, to me, it hit all the marks. And if they did make this the series finale, would this be the first ever show that stuck the landing on a series finale?
I mean, for me, it worked really well. I just marathoned the season this past weekend. I had not seen any until this past Saturday. And all I've been hearing is complaints of how bad it was this season, sort of on the reviews. I thought it was great.
Really? Yeah.
I had I mean, do have some issues with it, but nothing major. I thought it was great.
I'm shocked that people didn't like. To me, this season to me was just as good, if not better, because it was cinematic, and every one of them had these long Stranger Things runtimes. But let me grease our pipes, because I found this 5 great moments from the Ted Lasso finale, and let's see how you feel about it. What did you think about the dance number? The So Long Farewell Coach. Whistle! Whistle! And then you thought they were just going to walk back in, and they kind of broke into song.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it was. So that was one of the most memorable scenes. But to me, and Mike, we were just talking about this earlier, the big one for me was Roy Kent's character, Brett Goldstein, right? He was a writer. Did you hear how he got that?
Yeah, didn't he just cast himself?
Yeah. Well, he's like, I think this is me. And he like made a video and then sent it to everyone. It's like, you can completely ignore this if it's not right, but I think this is me. And they're like, yeah, we're tired of looking at you. And he became Roy Kent.
Easy enough.
Yeah, Mike said he had less annoying than most songs on the show. But when he became the Diamond Dog, that was a big character jump, right? Because anytime it was Diamond Dogs, gather up Diamond Dogs, and he'd drop an F-bomb and he'd walk away.
I didn't realize he had never been on it before, but yeah, that was a good moment.
Yeah, he was never a diamond. And then when he gave the little bit of rough, like, was there any I feel like there was not even any throwaway characters. I feel like every character was great. Mike pointed this out earlier. The only thing that felt awkward was the therapist, who had a big role in the last season. She had no lines in this one, and they just kept showing her with not talking, but being engaged. Like, did you say, hey, we want to put you in the finale. Can you film this on your phone and send it in?
Yeah, probably something like that.
That's what it felt like.
They kind of just cut to her reaction a bunch this season.
What about, and we talked about this earlier, but let's get it out there. And for people watching, let's see if they will figure it out. Did Ted and Rebecca like hook up, and was there like an orgy with Beard?
I don't know what was going on in that opening scene. I need to revisit that.
So it ended with he had something to tell her, and you kind of hinted, after his mom was there, that he was going to say, I'm resigning. But then he came out kind of in his PJs, and they had the rough hair, and like, do you want to talk about it? And I think they were kind of like tongue-in-cheek, saying maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But he's like, thanks for letting us stay over here for the gas leak in our neighborhood. Mm-hmm. But, and then Beard came through with his girlfriend. And I don't know, it felt like it had the awkward good morning, I can't believe we hooked up. Not good morning, I can't believe I resigned.
Got the sense they all got hammered together.
Yes.
That's probably what happened.
Yeah, Mike saw it too. There was a gas leak, so they just all had to stay there. Beard is one of the writers of the show too, right? Like, I think he's not. What I saw a story with him on how he got booked on it. He had a role in We're the Millers that got cut, and then Jason Sudeikis said, "Hey, sorry, we had to cut your role, but we're doing this soccer show. Do you want to read for this part?" And to me, he's a scene stealer. Everything about him, like everything that's freaky about him. So when he came in with his thong and then yelling to the housekeeper, "Don't throw those ropes out, they're not garbage."
Yeah. Yeah, I need to rewatch that scene to get. I'm sure it's all lined out there for us.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of misdirects. Here, real quick, I got to throw in a quick spoiler that just dropped.
Oh, yeah.
On the screen share. It's official. CM Punk is back.
Oh,
Saturday,
wow.
June 17th. He's on the poster.
He is on the poster. It's a done deal.
Guess they just announced it.
Oh, was it on, did they announce it on Dynamite?
Must have been, yeah, because all of a sudden this image is everywhere.
Oh, yep, there it is.
So there you go.
That's a big one.
That's why people tune in for the
So
constant
Thunder Rosa
updates.
and CM Punk are the only ones that are so far official for that show.
Like you said, it's the Heat Magnet show.
Yeah, it is a Heat Magnet show.
Sounds weird. It's a weird idea, but I'll check it out.
Oh, man. Yeah, we'll check it out. Oh, yeah, but Mike said he was also the original commercial based on and was a writer on those. So to me, he was great.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, he was great in there. And the reassembling of the Believe sign that came all the way back to full circle, because that Believe sign is 100% in the zeitgeist and has been ever since it first got revealed. And then they made it such a huge part of the show. And then it was a huge part of Nate's character development, of like him sneaking in, always staring at it, being envious, ripping it up, becoming his own coach, started to believe, but then believed more in the wrong direction, and then became a coach, but then realized that there was more to this definition of believe, and having him stare at the wall. That one really got me, dude. There was a few parts in this episode that got me, but him staring up and at the believe and then just breaking down, I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
Yeah, the reassembling of the Believe sign is great. Not just because they reassemble it, because they all each saved a piece.
Yeah.
That's really what did it.
Yeah, that was so much.
I think one loose end that I would have liked to see tied up, I wish Nate would have got to see that, remember he got really angry because Coach didn't have his photo up on the wall.
Oh, yes.
He never got to see that Coach actually had it at home on his dresser.
Yeah.
I suppose that would have just made him feel worse, and he was already, very much, regretful.
Yeah, he's definitely had a lot of regret, but that one choked me up.
So is he now just back to being the Kit Man?
I think...
What a ride.
I think at the end, they didn't make it official, but when she announced Roy Kent as the manager, I just assumed that he became an assistant coach because they showed him and Beard and Roy looking up. I just assumed that he just moved back over to assistant coach. But I mean, I guess that was the leap because they were all wearing the same uniform and they were standing next to each other.
Yeah.
So that was the big leap. Nate had a fantastic ride. It was so good because he was just like the throwaway Kit guy that was just kind of like, his arc was so good. And he was coming off this season that he was going to be the biggest heel of that, and it went in directions that I did not expect. I had no idea where this was going to go, but he got his win, right? He got his win over Ted, and that's when it was kind of like the beginning of the end for his tenure there, and then came back.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to stay as a heel.
Yeah. And Rupert was not allowed to get any redemption. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I was telling Mike this earlier. I thought he was going to have a small babyface turn.
They made it look that way, but I'm glad they didn't go through.
He had his jacket flowing like the cape, like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So you knew he was like going to be a straight up heel. But the one that really got me that I thought it might is he started warming up, and respecting Rebecca a little bit more.
Right.
And then when she said, "What a lucky man you are, no matter what happens today, a team you love wins." I thought that was a fantastic line. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe that was going to be the one that snapped him out of it. But it snapped him back a little bit, and he regressed and made his manager's balls fall out.
Right. Now, this show is the polar opposite of Barry, which is a show full of heels, and this is a show full of baby faces.
Yes.
Everyone is a baby face on this show, except for Rupert.
Yeah.
Literally, anyone else. We got Rupert, and we've got the guy who owns the Nigerian team.
Oh, yeah, that guy's a straight-up heel. Oh,
yeah.
and Jack, which she just kind of escaped, like, after pulling away Kelly's money, from her firm.
Yeah.
You know, and just she left the country and had a small, like, it was more like a ghosting. She was one of those millennial heels
Right.
where she's just like, I'm just going to ghost you.
Right.
So she didn't have that. But I mean, she was just 4 this season. So, but yeah, she fell to heel. But speaking of Kelly, Jamie Tart, what a great character arc for him.
Yeah.
Like starting from season 1. I mean, he was technically felt like he could have been the heel, right? The hotshot sports guy.
He was in season 1 and most of season 2.
Yeah.
But he had the turn. They just built it up to the turn.
Oh, man. And when you do it
solid
right.
booking on this one.
Very solid booking to see that character arc of just like how Ted, you know, the Lasso way turned things around, and his stuff was great. And then the stuff and he got the redemption of his dad at the end. That was another one that just got me emotional. And then, you know, Mike and I were talking about this, the relationship that he had with Roy and Keeley, that whole that love triangle that was going on. And they still kind of stayed, you know, as their relationships growed, they stayed that way. And even when they decided that they both might be in love with Keeley, and then they decided to have a fight, but then they still kind of stayed bros and were okay with it. That was, to me, that was great.
Yeah.
What a feel-good show.
Yeah.
Because you were crying, but it were happy tears, that you were just feeling good all around.
Yeah, this show was a complete tear fest. So many scenes. The scene that got me was when Rebecca just asks Ted to stay.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He didn't say a word either.
Yeah.
Asked Jason to stay because
he says nothing.
it.
He says nothing in that whole scene.
Yeah, he crushed it. It was just so good because you just didn't know what to expect. And, you know, and her getting emotional and then her thinking about selling the team. There was just so much riding on him leaving.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult to think, what a difficult decision. The family you have, you know, with his son who needs his dad desperately, but his family that he made with the team, who also kind of needed him, but in the end you realize maybe they outgrew the need for him, or mission accomplished. Now he had to go back and do it with his son. But it made it really tough. Like Barry did this in a different way. Like you said, once he assassinated, you know, the cop, you knew that there was no turning back. Like it was a very difficult choice to make. This, to me, it was always a difficult choice because I think about if my son was at that age and you get a job opportunity like this that you have to leave the country, how difficult that would be to do that. And just know that now the doctor that was trying to help repair your marriage is in there where you're, that's got to be like so hard.
Yeah.
So hard. So there was he stayed, and there was going to be, then his son loses, but then he leaves, but then his team kind of like loses him. But yeah, they made it the whole time that was always just kind of hanging over my head.
I thought for a second there when they started to show what a jerk the new boyfriend is.
Yeah, Mike just said that he was the heel of the episode. It's like,
For sure.
Look at that, something happened. And he was on the phone the whole time.
Yeah.
Just like making fun of soccer. So that was
I thought that right there I felt like, are they going to swerve us and everyone's going to move to London?
Yeah.
And they're gonna flip the title card at the end from Ted Lasso to the Lassos.
Like from Valerie to the Hogan family.
Exactly. From Three's Company to Three's a Crowd. That would have been nice. I probably could have gone that way.
Yeah, when Rebecca started saying all this stuff that made sense in that scene, you're like, oh, this could happen. Because I feel like his wife was trying to soften and realize that maybe there was something there. It felt like it could happen.
Yeah.
What made this finale to me so great is it could have been everything worked out perfectly the way you thought it could have. But they found a way that it was second place and everything worked out perfectly. They did every single thing they could, and they still came in second place. But
now
that was
explain
enough.
this to me. Why did they come in second?
So that was the whole joke throughout the show of like trying to figure out like why the rules are what they were. But like no matter what, so it's kind of like in the NFL, they needed to win and then the other team, which wasn't their rival, needed to lose for them to go ahead, the way the records fell. So they did their part. They did every single thing they can, but the other team didn't lose, which wasn't their rival. So they beat their rivals. So you got the Ted victory dance, which I've been waiting for since season 1, episode 1.
They teased it a long time ago.
Right? I was waiting for that dance, and he got it. So they did every single thing they could, but then it still just wasn't enough. But it wasn't enough to get the other victory. But like the guy in the airport called, it's like, oh, you could have been legend. Like you were like right there to win it all. But it was enough.
Yeah.
Like it was not everything, but it was enough. Same thing with who ends up with Keeley. Neither one of them, but they were still so close. So it wasn't what you expected, but it was enough. I don't know. It like Nate, he wasn't the manager. He had to go back to being the kit man and probably assistant coach, but that was enough.
Wasn't that the theme song of the trailer of the season? You can't always get what you want.
Yeah. You might, yeah, exactly. There was everything about that. But there's just so many shows that if this is the finale, he did it. And many shows haven't done that. Because he told, I was listening into an interview, and I think he even said it on Hot Ones. His plan was to shoot it like a London show. And the London show is 2 seasons and a Christmas special and done. We got 3 seasons, technically 4 with the episode length, and we got the Christmas special in last season. They had the Christmas episode, and I feel like that was it. So, do you think they're going to come back? I guess that's the big question.
Well, they planted one seed that they could possibly do something with. They said Richmond women's team ? Right?
Oh, yes.
So that could be a spin-off. Keep all the same characters. You just don't have Ted. That could be something if Jason Sudeikis is not up for it. And a Christmas special. How about a Ted Lasso movie?
Yeah.
How about a Ted Lasso movie for Apple that they put in theaters at a holiday? Why not? They have everybody. Maybe everybody from Richmond comes to America. That's the movie.
Oh, just the flip-flop.
For Thanksgiving.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they can make jokes about, England versus America and, how they were at odds and all that stuff. So do a Ted Lasso Thanksgiving movie. So those are some options.
Yeah. I think that would be great.
I think a Ted Lasso movie would do really well.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I just didn't think, and, it's kind of like what we always talk about with Quentin Tarantino. Like, we're in denial because when you're firing on all cylinders, the last thing you want to do is say, this is enough. Like, you can stop now. Because you just think, there could be one more. Could you be 3 feet from gold? Is there one more? So when Jason Sudeikis said, I'm going to let everybody watch this finale and see if you even want any more. If you want it just for the sake of wanting more because it's so great, yes, I do want more. But if you're gauging it just on the story of, was this a perfect stop point? Now I know what he was talking about. Yeah. I never got that. And you're a little bit more, with your film school background of like, I don't know when to say enough is enough. Right? Because you always want to say, do you get one more? Do you get one more?
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm like, wow, that is like something you'll be able to revisit of like the perfect show from beginning to end. So good. I think it could be enough.
I think, no, it definitely is enough. It's a fine ending. They can leave it there, and that's fine. But if they ever wanted to, they've left two options out there.
Yeah.
The Richmond's women's team, that's great. Have Keeley run it. You can bring Rebecca back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could do something with that. But I think a Ted Lasso movie could be pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. With a theatrical release.
Yeah, theatrical Ted Lasso movie. Because that's, at least you're not doing the show again. You're doing something different. There's a separation there. I don't think that would sully the legacy.
Maybe it's Bad News Bears go to Japan. Maybe they get picked to represent the team.
Yeah.
and go international, and then they have to go fight international heels. And then they need Ted to come back for that.
Yeah, something like that.
Right? Bad News Bears go to Japan. Wasn't that the whole premise of that? Mm-hmm. They became that team. But I was trying to think of, I was going to ask you, do you think there's ever been any shows that stuck the landing like this? Like I think we've done spots on this before. Like, what are your favorite series finales that you go back and like, I think you feel different when you watch it as it's happening, and then you go back and revisit it years later. Like, do you have some that you revisit that, like, or think about, like, okay, this is fine?
I think the Cheers finale was really good.
Yeah, Cheers was great.
Cheers worked. There's not that many, not like dramatic series. I feel like comedy shows tend to have an okay track record. How did Friends end?
Friends ended the way you Joey went to California to get his own show, but Ross and Rachel did end up together. They buttoned everything up. Ant-Man was there. He married Phoebe.
Parks and Rec was pretty solid.
And Rec.
Even The Office was pretty good, even though it had some stumbles the previous 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously nobody likes the Seinfeld one, but
why? That's what I was going to ask. Like, why? Like, revisiting that.
Yeah.
Again,
I got no heat with it. I think it's good.
Like, talking about Barry and everybody being deplorable characters, I thought it was pretty fitting the way
it worked pretty well. Yeah. I think folks were just not ready for that.
It was a show about nothing.
They were a little ahead of the curve.
They went to jail for a year?
Yeah.
And then they just went back about their lives.
Right.
I would have liked to see a reunion of that, and they did a light reunion on Curb Your Enthusiasm, but they were kind of playing themselves.
Right.
But a Seinfeld like these days would be a very interesting. I think they did it. Looking back, I think that's kind of surviving the test of time. And another one that I think was so divisive that's standing the test of time is Lost. I think Lost finale is standing the test of time because Lost was dropping stuff about multiverse before even science was talking about it. And, they didn't know what to call it. They didn't know what to call it, like it was another universe. So everyone was it was the flash sideways and flash forward and flash back. They weren't calling them timelines then. But if you go back and watch the finale, which I have, that's all they're doing. They just get into alternate universe. I think that's standing the test of time really well. And I'd be really curious for somebody to watch it now after living through a world of MCU multiverses and across the Spider-Verse universes and everything everywhere all at once, and now watch Lost with that lens, armed with that knowledge. Now, how do you feel about that show?
Don't know. I think Lost is a heat magnet right now. They're having some bad PR right now.
Are they?
Yeah, like they're getting some accusations.
Oh, Lindelof or the writers or the actors?
Just that it was a really terrible work environment. There was a lot of racism and sexism on set, that kind of stuff.
Oh,
that stuff.
Sucks. I don't want to hear that. That's a bummer. Mike brought it up. Another one, Sopranos, comes to mind.
Sopranos was a good ending.
David Chase kind of let it slip that it's what everybody suspected.
I think Sopranos is probably the best show of all time. I would put it up there as the best dramatic. Well, I mean, the best show of all time. I rewatched it, and I think everybody in America did the same thing. When that Sopranos movie dropped on HBO Max,
oh yeah,
that was pretty mediocre. But as soon as that ended, I tuned right into the show and started from the beginning and watched them all again.
Yeah,
and it's great. It holds up really, really well, surprisingly well. Even the dated references in there hold up. Yeah, I thought that finale was really, really great.
I think The Many Saints of Newark should have been a limited series instead of cramming everything into a movie. Too much time had passed. And I think if they would have done 6 episodes like it was a spin-off season of The Sopranos, I think it would have done better. They try to cram everything in. Because I don't remember disliking the movie, but I think it was a very high bar for them to come in. I mean, even the movie's starting off with, Christopher talking from beyond the grave.
Yeah.
It sets your expectations so high for a show, like you just said, could be one of the best shows of all time. And then you start off with that. It was a very high expectations. And I think, and the casting was good. And the people, they had James Gandolfini's son. There's so much more they could have done. I'm just surprised that HBO didn't just say, let's just turn this into a quick series. Like, I'd be curious how much he made and how much money was saved of just doing it. You got John Berthenol. What a great title. The Many Saints of Newark. What a great title. Everything about that should have worked.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work.
Yeah, it was lacking some world building. I don't think folks knew what to make of it if you hadn't seen The Sopranos, which is exactly why everybody went and watched Sopranos right after they watched it.
Yeah,
because they're like, "What was that all about?" I guess I should watch Sopranos and see what happened. And The Sopranos turns out to be really good.
Yeah, I did not go back and rewatch that. I would like to go back and rewatch that and in that lens, because a lot of time has passed. Why is it taking so long for everybody to come ahead? We were talking about this with The Machine. Why is it taking so long for people to pull this stuff off? Why does Hollywood not cashing in fast? They cash in fast on dumb stuff, but they don't. But something that could be drawn, like this is made for money.
Which was The Sopranos?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like nothing is really a surefire hit these days.
No.
Nothing is a certainty other than an established IP.
Yeah.
And I guess Sopranos is, you could say that's an established IP, but if you haven't seen the show, there's certainly nothing else for you to know about it.
No, and I wonder if that's what a lot of people were counting on. So I think they tried too hard to let's just try to make it a movie that even if you didn't watch the show, you'll be fine. Which, hats off to James Gunn, because I think he did that with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think you could have walked in there pretty fast and figured out what was going on without seeing any of the other Guardians and been fine.
Yeah.
There's a skill to that. And I understand why they want to do that they don't want to alienate. But also at the same time, honoring the IP of what you're trying to do would have been the way to go. Have you heard the latest rumor that's happening with Max? I know I'm still not used to calling it Max yet. HBO Max.
What is the Max rumor?
The Max rumor is during this writer strike, it's giving them time to focus, and we might be getting a green light for Jon Snow, a Game of Thrones story, which is big. House of the Dragon, you can say, it took place a long time ago. Again, you can do, you'll be beneficial if you did watch it, but if you didn't watch it, it's fine. This is big because Jon Snow was smack dab in the middle of all the heat that finale got. It was him and it was Danny, and it's the handling of that.
So you're talking about a follow-up.
It's going to be a a straight-up sequel series of what happens after that debacle.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that being a thing.
Do you think enough time has passed? Now it's the opposite problem, right? Do people need more time to forget how angry they were? I still remember how upsetting it was, that it was just it could have been so good. And I don't know.
I don't know. I wasn't really in that group because I never really watched Game of Thrones. Not really my bag. And I tried to get into it there towards the end and watch some episodes, and not really for me.
You're not a fan. You were not groomed for wizards.
I was not groomed to love wizards or dragons. That kind of stuff is not really my bag. I don't know, just not for me. But but it sounds like an okay idea.
Medieval zombies.
Yeah.
Medieval zombies was the gist of it. And the first 3 episodes of the final season could have been enough. But then, they just went off the rails for sure. So I'm really curious what Max is thinking of why they want to take this problem head on.
I mean, they're thinking that we need to use established IP to try and get some people to subscribe to this channel.
It's funny you say, and I don't.
Have you tried the new Max? It barely works.
Yeah, it was tough.
I couldn't find it. There's like I remember the HBO menu. I could always find the things that I was looking for, and it would now it's like nothing. I opened it up. It has one line of suggestions. It's just like this is what you watched before, and that's it. That's all.
It reminded me of the worst app jump was the WWE app going to Peacock. That was a very jarring experience. But this one was pretty close.
Yeah,
this one was pretty close because I had HBO Max and Discovery Plus. And I'm still not sure, and no one has cleared it up. Do I need to cancel Discovery Plus? Because HBO Max, the app is just gone. If you go to open it, it says this is now under Max. Discovery Plus, still wide open, still right there with all the stuff that's and ready to charge me again.
Yeah.
So which would be a double charge. But then if you go to the Max app, all the Discovery tiles are there, whether it's food or travel. HGTV, those are all there. So do I need to cancel this? And I feel like they're trying to double dip on me.
Yeah.
They're just trying to say, no, just go ahead and pay us twice. It's fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's bullshit because I don't know if you said this or I saw this somewhere else that all these streaming apps went from let's get everything we can and stream the hell out of it to let's cancel everything we can because we can't afford to keep all these shows on TV.
And let's go ahead and just sell our shows to other things.
Man,
so we can watch them.
When you used to, and you were saying this earlier, the streaming wars, right? We talked many times. I just had no idea. This has more phases blocked out than Kevin Feige does for Marvel. Like we're in another phase of it already. I feel like what's next?
Yeah.
Like what's going to happen? Are we going to get to a stage where one streamer starts gobbling up other streamers?
Right, and then it's going to just start to drift back to where we're packaging these apps together, and now you've got cable. It's just cable all over again.
That's the meme, right?
Yeah.
It was me, Austin. It was me all along.
It's not going to be cable on Spectrum. It's just going to be cable on whatever, Roku, Apple TV, whatever you got.
Well, your wireless might be slow. Well, we can push a wire into your house that'll give you internet.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't that just cable?
Pretty much. That's where we're at now. So, yeah, and I think they're finding that streaming is not profitable. It's more profitable to just put your movie in a theater and have people come buy tickets than to just sell memberships.
Easier to track.
Yeah, way easier to track.
Yeah. But it is interesting that is there any streamers that doesn't have at least one buzzy hit that you do feel like you need to have everything? Are there any streams that any apps that you're like, I don't really need that. There's nothing on there that I watch.
Everything, even Screambox has stuff.
Right?
Like you have to get Screambox because it's got Terrifier 2 on it. It's got the Chucky documentary on it. It's like we need to get everything.
Everything has at least one app. I was talking to somebody about what's the Showtime show right now that Rainbow was talking about that's got a lot of buzz. And I'm like, man, you got to get Showtime, but now I think it's going to move under Yellow Jackets?
Yellow Jackets.
That's really buzzy right now. I'm seeing that everywhere.
You don't have Showtime?
I do. I just haven't logged into it in a while.
See, that's what I'm saying. Just here's my advice to you: cut off all your apps and just get cable.
Just get it back.
Well, I mean, I have Sling and I enjoy it. And I have all the movie channels, and to me, that's great. I love just scrolling movie channels to see what's playing.
Yeah. No,
watch Pearl halfway through. Like I've watched it from the middle like 5 times.
I do feel like that, the rewatchability, which we talk about all the time, that what we had to do pre-internet, I feel like the rewatchability is a lot more difficult with apps than it is when, like you said, just throw something on.
There's also sort of a culture that has emerged, I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it's just like the culture of having the TV on but not watching it.
Yeah.
I think this came from like the binge culture. And it's like people would just have The Office on for days and days and days.
Yeah, right.
Just on a loop. Friends on a loop for days.
Yeah.
Not necessarily paying attention to any of it. You're doing stuff, you just have it on.
Oh, it's multiple screens.
Yeah. And you just have it on. You just have Friends going all the time. And I think it's almost like it's pulled people away from the idea of having to watch stuff.
Yeah.
Putting it on is sort of like the the new watching.
Yeah, not fully committing.
Yeah, not fully committing.
Not fully committing. Where when you go to a theater, you're fully committing.
You have to commit.
You bought the ticket. You're
It
in.
has the sign that says "Put your phone away."
Yeah, no distractions.
Yeah,
and it's so good. One more spot, and then we'll just take a quick break.
Wait, are we done with Ted Lasso?
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, that's why I wanted to go back to. To me, Ted Lasso kind of cemented it over the top. Apple is now what HBO used to be, as far as like having quality shows. That it's has so many buzzy shows.
Yeah, I mean they're on the road to that for sure. I think HBO is still on top. I think HBO is still the king of quality content, but Apple is right there.
The movies are good. Their shows are good. Like you get pulled into shows. I think they realized what they had with Ted Lasso. And did you notice the ad right before the show started with the previously on was everything that we got to try to pull you in?
Yeah.
To try to pull you in while they had you with Ted Lasso, because that show's got, so much buzz.
Yeah.
And it works because, again, one of my favorite shows of 2023 was Shrinking. And I happened to catch that, as one of those little lead-in ads. And I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
I haven't seen Shrinking, but Severance was good.
Severance was good.
The Newsroom is good.
The Newsroom.
The Morning Show. You
Yep.
seen that one? That one's good.
You have with Jennifer Aniston.
I forgot the name of this show, but it's the one where they commit a murder and they're trying to solve the murder. That was good. It's like every episode is from someone's different perspective.
I watched Physical, and I
liked Physical. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was decent.
It got canceled, but
I thought they just announced another season.
Did they? I thought it got canceled.
Yeah.
Anyway, they are making quality stuff. They still just don't have the name notoriety where it's just like, oh, Apple. Apple, maybe they had a branding issue. Maybe they should change their name to Apple Max.
Apple Max.
Or something like that. But because Apple TV it's just like, oh, my phone and TV.
Yeah.
Maybe they need a logo. They need a brand. Like Apple, how do you expand on the Apple logo?
Well, it's not clear on every device that you have.
Yeah.
Of that they have this whole library of original content, because they mix it into, and maybe that's the whole swerve of trying to make it feel like cable. They attach to every streaming app you have.
Yeah.
And then it all feeds in there. They don't even want you to know where this is. I don't care where this content's coming from. Like, hey, you were just watching this on Shudder. Do you want to continue? But Apple Plus is telling me that. And I'm like, I thought I was watching that under Shudder. But they just kind of plugging in. And I don't know if that strategy works or not.
But they want you to buy it on Apple?
They're just streaming it through there. They're just... They just want to connect. I'm sure it's
because they have an advantage into they actually also create the device that you're using to watch.
Yes.
Where Netflix doesn't have a device.
Oh, TiVo. I wrote an article a long time ago on monkeys fighting robots.
I remember that article.
About like what things to save TiVo, because TiVo could have been this. They could have been this. TiVo should have sold to Google, and that could have been their device, and Google could have made their Chromecast a little bit better, but it could have had that TiVo brand because it was kind of already buzzy, and they could have just bundled it in, and they dropped it because Roku leapfrogged over TiVo. But yeah, TiVo's still available apparently, but I don't really know who has it. I had TiVo for the longest time. So yeah. But the whole thing, like you said, that's the advantage of they do make the device. And let's face it, you know why they're really plugging into every app that you're seeing, because now they got your data of what you're watching.
Right.
So they know what works and what doesn't work. So they have their original programming that's in there, but they're also plugged into all these other apps to see what you're watching and what you're not watching. I watched a YouTube video, and you know why? Out of all the pizza joints, Little Caesars is the most profitable, because Little Caesars is actually a food delivery company first and pizza second. And that's what Apple's doing. That's their original content is the pizza.
Yeah.
But they're delivering to all these other apps. And so Apple is going to make their money with their subscription, but they're also going to sell data to all these other streaming apps to watch what my viewing habits are, because it's plugged right in.
Yep.
So
they know exactly which parts of Ted Lasso you were crying at.
yeah.
They know when you swiped away to the other browser because it's all on your phone.
Which, spoiler, was a lot. So cool. Well, you wanna take a quick break here? We'll BRB.
Yeah.
All right.
Take a quick break.
Today, the United States is engaged in a gigantic effort to send men to the moon. For this effort, Pillsbury has developed many special foods. Here is the first one to be made available to the public: Space Food Sticks. To meet the demands of a long space flight, Space Food Sticks had to be a compact, nutritious, high-energy food. That's why they make the perfect between-meal energy snack. Energy for hard play. Energy for hard work. Lasting energy to feel alive. If that sounds better than some of the things your family fills up on between meals, you should try Space Food Sticks for good nutrition and lasting energy in a chewy, tasty snack food. Chocolate, caramel, and peanut butter. About 44 calories. At your grocer's next to the instant breakfast section. Space Food Sticks, the energy snack from U.S. Aerospace Research and Pillsbury.
It's landed. Ideal's new Astro Base has just landed. Look, the space lock is opening. And here comes the astronaut. He's being lowered from the Astro Base into the remote control scout car. The two space probes are being mounted for launching. The car is scanning the area. And there go the space probes. They're calling them back to the Astro Base. Mission accomplished. Ideal's Astro Base and Colonel Macaulay's space helmet are the greatest way to play outer space. You can scan the skies, launch deep space probes, fire rockets, destroy stray meteorites. Ideal's Astro Base is at your favorite toy store. Get your Ideal Astro Base today.
Eldon's new Billy Blastoff. Now he walks.
That's Billy's jet.
The jetpack on Billy's back powers his lunar crawler, runs the space mobile, drives the moon tractor, and makes Billy Blastoff walk. Eldon's Billy Blastoff Space Scout comes with 8 pieces.
There's 8 pieces.
Billy Blastoff. Now he walks.
Now, for every kid who has ever seen a science fiction movie, thrilled to the amazing strength of an out-of-this-world movie monster, comes Great Garloo by Marx. Garloo the Mighty. Garloo the Untamed. Garloo the Terrible. Who can stop him? Who can control this monstrous creature? You can, kids, because Great Garloo by Marx is yours to command. With these battery-operated controls, you can make Garloo go, stop, bend, pick up, turn. Yes, Great Garloo, almost 2 feet tall, will be your faithful servant. You name it, you're the boss. Bring out-of-this-world excitement into your house, kids. Own the most fantastic toy of all. Great Garloo by Marx.
M-A-R-X spells Marx, world's largest toy maker.
Ideal's Robot Commando is here to help you. He's your one-man army. No enemy can destroy him. He fights off tanks, hurls missiles one after another. Even a squadron of planes can't stop him. Robot Commando fires his secret weapon. He takes orders from no one except you.
Forward!
Ideal's Robot Commando is battery-operated to obey your command. Adjust the control, speak into the microphone.
Left! Fire!
Ideal's Robot Commando is here to help you. Look for your Robot Commando. He's looking for you.
The Zeroids are here. From the planet Zero, the Zeroids. Zirak, the Zeroid commander, frees himself from his own Zeroid capsule. Advance! Zobor, the Zeroid transporter. Change his Zeroid capsule into a Cosmobile for hauling. Zintar, the Zeroid explorer. Change his Zeroid capsule into a lunar sled. Command the Zeroids to defend. Move forward, backward, and transport. Command the Zeroids from Ideal.
All right, we're back. I was just perusing through Twitter, seeing if there was any punk news, and you found other different news.
Yeah, well, this dropped last week after we went off the air. But yeah, I was really excited about. I'm extremely excited about the final Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
Oh, it's.
But this is the level of hype I have for this movie. Will definitely lead to a letdown of whatever the movie is.
You think?
I'm so like I've told you. I think this is going to be the defining movie of my life. The defining movie of my life. I think if Tarantino is going to retire from making movies, I think I might retire from watching them. I'm pretty sure that's what I want to do. I don't know that I want to watch them anymore.
Dude, that sounds like an Onion article. Let's make a fake Onion meme with
tag
that.
them on this.
Just put your face. Fan says he will retire as a movie fan after Quentin Tarantino retires. Oh, that's great.
I've been on a sort of a Tarantino tear right now. All I want to do, I'm just watching his movies, rewatching all of them, listening to his audiobooks. I just got through Once Upon a Time in Hollywood again. I'm on to Cinema Speculation. I told you I watched the documentary on Peacock. The Grade 8 or something like that.
The Grade 8, yep.
You should definitely check that out. I think you'll enjoy it. But
the season finale of Video Archives is next week. I think that
Video Archives podcast, yes.
Season finale.
Got that coming up. Man, how long are we going to have to wait for season 2? Not long, I hope.
Yeah, I don't know. So it has the Remembering Rick Dalton episode part 2, and then they're ending the season with an awards show.
Yeah,
which should be really fun.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you've been. He's just he's the defining director in the last 50 years, right?
So people were thinking that this movie, the film critic or the movie critic, his movie that's coming out, he's dropping a lot of tidbits at Cannes. He's over at Cannes right now.
Yep.
Doing stuff and talking to the press. So it's actually going to be based on a movie critic who used to write for a porn magazine.
Yes.
And he'd write reviews in the porn magazine. What was his name?
That is so great. I love
William Marigold. William Marigold.
Wow. Can you imagine the lucky actor that's going to get to lead that? Yeah. Which he announced, and this was after our show last week.
Somebody young.
Somebody, and he's never worked with before, too, which was big.
Yeah.
Because everybody's wanting his usual cast of thousands that he has that's in every one of his movies. But the lead is not going to be anyone that he's ever had before.
And I think, imagine this. Imagine what the supporting cast is going to be like. Everybody wants to be in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody is putting it out there that they want to be in this movie. So you're going to have your Tarantino regulars, right? You're going to have the legacy characters. I'm sure we'll squeeze in, Sam Jackson's going to be in there. Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, all these folks. But then again, you're going to have everybody in the world. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio will probably be in it just to do a Rick Dalton cameo.
I think that's a lock that he's going to be in it as Rick Dalton. I think it feels like he has to, right?
Yeah.
This time period lines up too well for it not to.
Yeah.
Uma Thurman? Is Uma going to come?
I don't know. I don't know if she'll come back. Possibly. Her and Tarantino had heat at the end, but I mean, even though they made up, it's still
right because her daughter Maya was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so the legacy was passed.
Right.
But yeah, it was Michael Madsen, another.
Yeah, Madsen. All the classic, Tarantino players.
I feel like Harvey Keitel gets a lot of. I mean, he had a lot to do with raising all that money.
Absolutely.
So I feel like, thank you, Harvey, because there's many people that, if it wasn't for blank, we wouldn't have Quentin Tarantino, but he's got to be at the top of the list.
Tim Roth, yeah, that's right, Mike.
Tim Roth's another one, right? He has to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but how how they factor in there and who again is going to be. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
But so we talked about this before. You never love Quentin Tarantino's movies the first time. Like they just like, man, it just takes a while before it's like a Scoville, a cinematic Scoville. Like it's sitting there and it gets hotter and hotter and hotter the more it sits in your mouth. Like you never dislike it when you walk out. But the next time you watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would be the time that you loved it the most. But it's guaranteed to be way more than you did the first time. When you're kind of like, oh, that was interesting. Because it takes so much to sink in. It's a lot to unravel. So I'm gonna be probably right there next to you because I'm really curious how you're gonna feel on this first pass, this first run. Unless it is like you're gonna be your church, or you're gonna have to go in there by yourself, earmuffs, go in there and just take it in that first time.
I don't know. It's gonna require multiple screenings for sure.
It has to be. I think the movie that I watched in theaters the most that's recently is probably Avengers Endgame, because I was hopping formats and like, let's check it out in IMAX. Let's go to Alamo and see the pre-show. I saw it in XD and it just like, oh, okay. I think this one's going to have to be up there. I want to see it multiple times because it's going to be the last time we get the original release run that's in there. Someday we're going to be in California and we'll watch it in a midnight screening from his personal print. Sure. But is there something about different than that original run? Because it's magical. That original run is magical.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't know exactly how I'm going to see it, but it will require multiple viewings, multiple separate viewings. I mean, I might go with you and pretend I hadn't already seen it.
That's my favorite thing to do.
And it won't be till after it's actually, I've already seen it twice. This is the third one.
That is my favorite thing to do because it's just like, I can't believe you didn't wait to me to see it. It's like, I have zero issues watching something in the theater multiple times.
Yeah.
And not even letting on that you even know.
I agree with that. 100%. And I'm just like, I don't know how that ruins someone else's experience.
I don't
if I've
either.
Seen it before.
I don't get it.
I'm watching it again. What do you like? How does it ruin your experience? Like, I'm going to react less? Am I going to spoil it for you?
Dare I say it has a reverse? It's something completely different. Did I tell you the story of how I saved my son from the spoiler of Avengers Endgame spoiler, and he got spoiled? And I had already went and saw it. And then he's like, I think I got a spoiler. And I'm like, well, I saw it, so what is it? He's like, Black Widow dies. I'm like, no, that's not true. Somebody dies, but it's not Black Widow. And I completely just disarmed that spoil. So when it happened, he got shocked again. Because he's like, I thought you said she didn't die. I was like, well, I wanted you to be somewhat surprised. Like, surprise, nice. I saved the spoiler. So I reversed it, and I wouldn't have been able to save my son from that spoiler if I didn't go see it once.
That's solid.
Yeah. Had to do it.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go down, but it will be a huge deal. And I can't impart this to you enough, how huge a deal this is going to be to me.
Yeah.
Just like this is all the guys from the 90s that came up in the 90s, which was like, I feel like the big indie film movement. I don't know where we are now in indie film. It's kind of a strange arena, but 94, 95, that arena, everybody was like, this is when everybody got the idea, oh yeah, maybe I could make a movie.
And I can see it being very personal to you because that around the time, right, you were getting into filmmaking and you were here in the location where this was the North Star of where it was happening. Quentin Tarantino, Austin was a big part of that. So I don't take it lightly when you say it's a personal journey, right? Because you were, before he owned the New Beverly, he was doing screenings here in Austin in the theaters you go to right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, not in the versions that are out right, not in the Soda Sopa versions that we have now, but there used to be the original. You never went to the original Alamo, right? The one in Colorado?
No.
That was an entirely different vibe. It felt like it didn't feel like a movie theater at all, you know?
Yeah.
It just felt like a space. and it was really small. Can you imagine they used to do like the buckets of beer at Alamo? They don't do that anymore. Crazy.
No.
Buckets of beer. They used to if you go on Weird Wednesday and you got a bucket, you got a free popcorn.
Man.
It was a different vibe, and like it was a very small. And then when celebrities started showing up there, you were very up close and personal with celebrities. You know,
Right.
Because it's like you've seen them at cons and you've seen them at other things, right? And it's like, oh, there's what's her name? There's Hillary Swank. Like how close I am to Hillary Swank signing autographs. But like you were just like right there with them in this tiny room.
Yeah.
You know? And you could just talk to them, and it introduced a whole other vibe into the city.
Yeah. And so I know that means a lot to you, especially like I said, that you came up with that his entire career, right? That's been his entire career has been the peak of your movie watching career too, right? As far as like theatrical runs and being in the industry and working within the industry. So I can totally see it. That's why I thought maybe that first one you may want to just be kind of like he would do. Like, this is my church. I'm just going to go in there. It's a skill, but it's a dedication to go to the theater. I have no heat going to the theaters by myself.
And it's going to be wild because I've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood so many times now. It's on Stars every week. You know, I can't even tell you how many times I've seen it. It's got to be around 50 since it come out.
It's so rewatchable. It's unreal how rewatchable and behind the scenes stuff and YouTube clips. Like anytime we're editing videos about him and watching it, you get pulled in and you just keep watching more and more.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. I saw it a couple times I saw it at least twice in theaters. At least twice, which was it. His stuff deserves theatrical screenings. This is a Quentin Tarantino film is never one to let slip through the cracks and not watch in the theaters, because he is about the theatrical experience. I don't know if
the only one I didn't see in the theater was Reservoir Dogs. I've never seen Reservoir Dogs in a theater.
No, me neither. I didn't see actually Pulp Fiction in theaters either.
Oh, really?
No, I did not see Pulp Fiction in theaters. I stumbled on that as a VHS find that I didn't even really know.
Oh, wow.
What was going on about that. So didn't get it in theaters. But it's going to be really interesting. I don't know if this is true or not, too, speaking of his news. Is it true that he goes with Sony and he prefers Sony because they're the only... He says they're the only studio left because they don't have a streaming platform?
Right.
That is true?
Yeah.
That's why he prefers them?
Yeah. And they're 100% dedicated to theater first.
Yeah.
Because that's what they got.
Because there's no choice. And it's not like he was disparaging towards Ryan Reynolds, but you saw that drop that came out that he's like, well, Ryan Reynolds made $50 million with something like on Netflix, but he's like, they're not memorable. I don't even know about it. They just kind of slipped through the cracks and I remember nothing about it.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's been talking a lot at Cannes
about
streaming. But here's the thing: is he wrong? What? This could be any number of Ryan Reynolds movies he's talking about. There's a movie on Netflix that has Ryan Reynolds, The Rock, Gal Gadot, and I don't know who else. And I've never seen it.
No, I know of it because of The Rock on social media. Red Notice.
Yeah.
Right. No, not Red Notice. Is it Red Notice?
That sounds right.
But see, that's exactly it. We don't even know off the top of that. Like, those three are movie stars.
And the thing is, here's like part of wanting to see a movie is like hearing about it for weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
And on Netflix, they don't promote anything, so there's nothing to be excited about. It just drops.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a new Jamie Foxx movie where he fights vampires. Had that been pitched to me for weeks, maybe in a trailer in front of a movie, I might have been excited to. It's not. It sounds like a good premise.
Oh my God, yeah. And you're right.
Created by the guys who did John Wick.
Man,
that's a solid pitch. But because it's never been put in front of me to say, hey, maybe this is something you want to watch, it just drops. And here's, I don't know, watch it or don't, whatever. Just give me $20.
Yeah. You're right. It just gets lost in a void. Remember for the longest time how TV stars wanted to become movie stars, and then they would never punch down and go into TV because it was almost frowned upon, like it was considered lower tier.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen now with streaming stars versus movie stars? Because movie stars will go to TV, even though it's through streaming. But like you said, streaming stars versus movie stars are, because streaming would get thrown almost into a viral bucket versus actually being a movie star in the traditional sense. Or is it just going to be over where movie stars don't exist?
I'm not. What was your question?
Exactly. It's like, do you think people who want to be moving stars are going to ever shy away from streaming stars, or are they just going to be, I'm an actor, I get paid to perform, I'm going to go perform no matter where the money's coming?
Well, at the moment, it's kind of a safe bet to go do a streaming show. A, because they can pay really well.
Yeah.
And B, nobody watches them. So it's just like money to do a job, and whether it's bad, no one ever watched it anyway. So
because there's nobody that's said no to streaming, right?
There's less risk if you put a movie in the theater and you promote it for weeks and weeks, and do press for it and really try to get people to watch it, and it's bad. It's a more noticeable mistake, more noticeable blotch on your resume. Where if you did a 6-episode streaming show or a movie for Netflix or whatever that nobody ever watched, it just goes away.
Yeah,
Nobody cares.
What? It doesn't get it. Yeah, it doesn't go on your permanent record.
Yeah.
You got paid. It reminds me of a prepaid wrestling show, like the Saudi show.
Yeah.
It's like, doesn't matter how many tickets we sold. We already got paid.
Right.
Just put it on and then leave.
Yeah. And by that same logic, it doesn't matter if it's good.
It's true.
It doesn't matter if it's good, because all that matters is that people pay their $20 a month to have the service. So it doesn't matter if it's good. You're not trying to get people. You're not even trying to get people to watch it. You're just trying to get people to pay for the opportunity to possibly watch it.
Is there any movie that's on a streamer that you think of and it was like, wow, that was really good, and you go back and rewatch it even?
That was just an exclusively streaming movie?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Does it count if, like, there's like indies that do the festival circuit and then streamers buy them. Is that the same thing? Or are we talking about like...
I think just specific to streaming. I think streaming only. Like for me, the one I can think of, just because it's very recent to me, was the Tetris movie. I really, really enjoyed that. And that was streaming on Apple.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the Glass Onion was really good, but I saw that in the theater first.
You saw it in theaters first, right?
And I thought it was great, and it's very cinematic. It's probably the best movie they've ever done.
And we were thinking about that. Another one I haven't gone back and rewatched was Army of the Dead. We're going to talk about Night of the Living Dead in a little bit. I wonder how that would have been in theaters. Would that have gotten a better push? Would it have played better?
Possibly, but I think that movie has a lot of issues. I think that had that been going to a theater, someone might have been apt to give Zach some notes. On Netflix, we have Total Autonomy.
Yeah.
I just, things can get out of hand. Creativity can get out of hand.
Yeah, I guess that I think of. I'm going to count. Even though it almost played like a miniseries, Zack Snyder's Justice League was probably one of the best things that I've ever streamed directly. Because I went.
But again, not made for streaming.
No, and it wasn't made for streaming. I went and saw that but I saw the Franken movie, or whatever you called it, in theaters, and then
I'd love to go see a Justice League IMAX screening. Why don't they put it out?
I don't know, man. For some reason, they just don't like money.
Yeah.
Especially now, the thing about that makes no sense is, James Gunn announced Elseworlds. There's absolutely no reason to actually just say this exists in its own section, and I guess they still could. They still could. We haven't seen what's coming with it. Oh, you talked about this last week, 2 weeks ago. Palm Springs. That was a great one.
Yeah.
And I guess
also not supposed to be streaming movies.
That's right, because again, that's what I was going to say. That fell in that bucket where they were putting stuff in streaming that should have been in theaters.
Right.
So you're right. I guess that one doesn't count too. So it's going to be interesting where that goes, because you just can't beat the theatrical experience. And I don't know if that's an age thing for us, but like even last night, Terror Tuesday, we were there for the Night of the Living Dead remake, 1990 version. And there's just something about the walking to your seat and getting ready to engulf that movie. You just can't replace that at home.
Even that, I mean, I can understand not seeing a movie in the theater. Like, that's fine. Like, that's okay. But what we've lost, and I think is the second tier of seeing a movie, which was renting a movie.
Right, yeah.
Nobody rents. Well, it's rare that someone wants to rent a movie. They'll wait for it to get to a streamer.
Yeah.
And then if they don't have that streamer, they'll get the membership for a month, But it's just like, I mean, I know we don't go to the video store anymore, but just it was something you had to do.
Yeah.
You had to make an effort to do something to watch this movie. Even now, renting a movie on iTunes, Amazon, I feel like that's big, but I think a lot of people don't even do that. It's just wait till it hits a streamer you have.
Yeah, they don't make it easy to do it either. And if you do happen to find it, they are going to charge you almost as much as it is to buy it, and they're gonna make it feel like a financial decision rather than an entertainment decision.
Yeah, and like people remember for a while there, people would just buy the DVD of a movie that come out.
Yeah.
They wanted to see it. They just go buy the DVD because that's what made sense.
Yep.
Pay the $20, get the disc, and you have it to watch as many times as you want.
But the bothersome thing about coming from me is if something, what we called slip through the cracks, right? It slipped through the cracks for whatever reason. You didn't see it in theaters. And the next tier was always a video store before HBO and then regular TV. But now, so it slips through the cracks now. And now it's available sooner at home. But like you said, the rental will be just as much as the buy. And then how would you feel if you rented the movie to watch it and then it's available on a streaming service the next week? Like, do you feel like you just got duped out of money?
I've done that.
You've done that?
Yeah. I've done that several times.
Yeah. But you don't feel duped? I think a lot of people feel duped.
I think I can see why people will feel duped. I'm pretty cavalier about spending money on movies. I don't care. I never think it's like, oh, I wasted my money. I've never thought that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whether it was out buying the disc or buying the digital copy or renting it or going to the theater. I've never said to myself that was a waste of money.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I can see how people would feel duped by that.
Because then you feel like you're paying for it twice.
'Cause I'm just like, I wanted to see it now, so I paid.
Yeah.
No,
and I get it. I've never, and I'm the same. I'm the same way. Everything except for the rent, and then it's available for a service I'm already paying for. But if I buy the movie and then it's available on a service a week later, that I don't mind, because you never know when that service is going to pull it away. You always get these are the movie leaving Netflix this month, because now, especially more than ever, they're dumping movies and moving them, and then they might disappear. I never feel that if I buy it, but if I rented it and then it was available, I was like, why didn't I it slipped through the cracks for 6 weeks. Why didn't I just wait one more week to rent it? Or they should give you the option of just like, oh, we see this is on a service you already, sorry, we're just going to unlock it and then it's in your locker and then you can always watch it. But they would never do that.
I was always telling Lucciolati that it's like, I wish that they had a service where it's like, you see the movie in the theater, for additional fee, you get to watch it at home after you've already seen it in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah, like a personal stream like that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, like, why not? Or just take it in, and studios, listen up. We're trying to help you. I'm of the mind of, like, if you rented it, like you just said, and like, did you like that movie? Yeah, it was good. Would you watch it again? Yeah. All right, give us $3 more and now it's yours. You keep it. Now you own it.
Yeah.
It's in your locker. I would give them a $3 extra. And if you didn't like it, you're like, okay, I'm not going to pay. I'm just going to let it go away. Then I feel like you would feel a little less stupid because they gave you the option of buying it. Because if you rented it and like, that was pretty good, man, I would want to watch that again. But now you'd have to pay that full price to buy it. Why not just say, if you do it right now on the spot for $5 more, this movie's yours? I think I would do it, especially if it was a movie you liked.
Yeah, it would not be a hard sell.
Right? And it's the price of a lower tiered movie ticket.
You should see my library of digital movies on Amazon. Like, I just have stuff that I buy in the middle of the night because I don't know where it's playing. So it's just like I'll just end up buying it on Amazon for ease of use,
Yeah, and I do get that. But like, we were talking about this with Renfield. It cost more for me to watch it at home than it did for me to go to the theaters and watch it.
But also, I think that owning it before it's available, it gives it a little more value because I have watched Renfield. I own it because I bought it because it was $20 to rent or $25 to buy. So I'm going to just buy it.
Yeah.
And it's not streaming anywhere yet. It'll probably be on Peacock in a day or two. But I've had it for like 2 or 3 weeks and I've watched it like 3 times.
Because you own it, yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't, why do they, I know they're just relying on making you double buy and making it feel like a gamble.
Yeah.
Rather than just like, hey, let's work with you. $5 more, you own this. That would be cool. That's like at a film flea market.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to play with this for a little while? Yeah, this is cool. $5, it's yours. Yeah, just do that. But anyway, I don't know how we got on that tangent.
It's a solid conversation. Also bring back dollar theaters. That's my other point.
100%. That's what, again, going back to Terror Tuesday, it feels like an elite dollar theater experience, but it's elite.
Black Shirt Crew.
Yes, the Black Shirt Crew was in full effect for Night of the Living Dead last night, 1990. Directed by Tom Savini, but we had a very awesome backstory from Joe from America Genre Film Archive, which it was really cool. You know what I'm talking about with the reason why George Romero made this?
Strictly financial.
Yeah. And people were kind of bummed out about that. And then he gave the backstory of, well, somebody screwed up and didn't get a copyright on that film. So a lot of people didn't make any of the money.
Yeah.
And he was kind of trying to make up for it to finally make some money and help the people that work, because he brought a lot of the same people back who made money.
Right.
And then he gave Tom Savini, who's his longtime collaborator, a swing at the plate to make it good.
Yeah.
So that, to me, that's a solid reason for a remake. For another crack. If anyone had any kind of qualms of like, you shouldn't touch that, that's a masterpiece. Well, guess what? He didn't get paid on his masterpiece.
Nobody was thinking that back then.
No.
Film nerddom hadn't exploded yet.
Nope.
So people were not thinking that. I think, I remember when this movie came out, I did not see it in the theater. I told you, I was not really into horror until later in life.
Yeah, you're saying that.
As a kid, I was scared of those movies. But like, it just kind of came and went. Didn't think too much about it. But it's a really, really good horror movie of its time, right? Produced by Menachem Golem, right?
Yeah, that was a cool story,
one of the Canon guys.
Yep.
Totally endorsed by Romero. Directed by the effects master who created the effects for the last films. It's a really entertaining, fast-paced, 90-minute. It's not a gore fest at all.
No, opposite.
It's not bloody at all.
I don't remember it 90s being anti-gore like that, but clearly they were hiding a lot of the gore.
They cut a lot of the gore, because I was watching a documentary about it afterwards, and they showed some of the deleted shots that got cut out. There was like definitely some more violent shots. It's Savini.
Yeah.
But they cut it, and they were just content with it, and they started realizing we kind of like the way this plays with less gore. He cut his own effects out.
Right.
You know? But yeah, even the mother dies off screen.
Yeah. That one stuck with me because it was very coming off like Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, when you get like the straight up, you see the bites happening. You didn't see a lot of, like, this one was very bite light. It was very bite light.
No bites.
No bites. No biting.
Yeah.
Johnny's head knock on the tombstone is probably the
That
one
was
that
rough.
Yeah, that was went to look some jump scares. They went heavy on the jump scares.
Yeah.
And it was 1990 and jump scares really weren't that prevalent yet.
Well, it
other
was-
than the slasher jump scares.
It was in that weird in-between period where people were kind of falling out of love with horror. 80s were coming to an end.
Yeah.
And so, all like the horror icons were sort of getting played out.
Yep.
And we were still a little ways away from like Scream coming out and reinventing everything.
Right, yeah, that was 6 years later.
Yeah. So like nobody was really, I don't think people were just in the mood for horror around this point.
No, you're right. And we had a horror icon in there, Tony Todd, later on, like a couple years later. This was pre Candyman.
I love the look of this movie.
Yeah.
It's got that look. I don't know how to describe it, but you look at this movie and the way it's shot and the way the lighting is and everything, and you can just visualize watching it on a VHS tape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like you could just it's almost like they used to light things a lot brighter. Everything is really sharp. I love the main actress. I love Barbara.
Yeah, she was
in this
good.
one. She's great. I love that she takes that total turn and becomes a badass.
Sigourney, they were calling her.
By the end of the movie, she's got that awesome denim jacket.
Yes.
And it's just a solid attempt at Night of the Living Dead, and I kind of feel like this needs to be added into your viewing experience. I mean, we talked about the double feature last time.
Yeah.
This belongs somewhere in there. I'm not exactly sure where, but this should be part of your canon.
To be continued on figuring out where that fits, but I 100% agree that this has George Romero, it has Tom Savini. It should somehow be a part of that watching experience.
And while we're at it, you're going to have to include the Dawn of the Dead remake as well.
Yeah.
Because that's solid.
Yeah. It was something completely different, but also really good. Yeah. I don't know if it was Romero connected with that one. I'm sure he was, right?
I don't know. Okay. I'm sure he got a check for it, but I don't know how involved he was. But written by James Gunn.
Yes, that's right. That was James
directed
Gunn.
by Zack Snyder. So it's really good. I think calling it Dawn of the Dead was a mistake, but I guess they had to try and get.
Yeah, why didn't they go with Mall of the Dead?
I thought Mall of the Dead would have been great.
Mall of the Dead would have been perfect.
Yeah,
dude, it hit me last night. This is gonna blow your mind. I have a fact. Get ready.
What's that?
Hold on. Buckle your seatbelt.
Okay.
You realize 1990 was 33 years ago?
Oh yeah.
Doesn't feel like it should be 33 years ago.
No, I still think somebody says 30 years ago. You think the 70s?
Exactly.
No, the 90s. What? Pulp Fiction is about to be 30th anniversary. Clerks is about to be 30th anniversary.
How is this possible? They said if Back to the Future was taking place today, Marty McFly would go back and visit his mom in 1993.
Yeah.
I was like, what? That just blew my mind.
That's wild.
Yeah, that is just crazy to think that. So this was still 30 years because that was like 68. No, it's like 25 years of the remake between Night of the Living Dead, the OG, and this one. Solid performances. Cooper, what a great heel.
Cooper.
He was just talking like it was the performances in here were really strong.
Really strong all around. Tony Todd's great in his pre-Candyman days.
Yep.
Yeah, and what's the name of the actress who plays Barbara? She was so good.
Oh, it's Patricia Tallman. She had a very much like a strong Molly Ringwald vibe going on.
Yeah.
If Molly Ringwald had a baby with Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, that's about right.
I don't know. My only note was I wish that girl's name wasn't Judy Rose because it just didn't roll off the tongue. It's like it seems so forced. Like, come on, Judy Rose, we got to do this. It's like, I get it. I guess it's fine. It's just those are two short names crammed together.
Yeah,
and it just never rolled off the tongue. What else? I had some notes that I did want to talk about. The ending. Oh, the ending was strong. I think the ending was really strong because that Night of the Living Dead original ending, when Ben, was mistaken and got taken out, was jarring. And I think everybody was like silent. And like you said it before, right? It just went into newspapers and then forgotten. But this one was completely different. And it happened last night. It was ended with a pop because Ben did die. He succumbed to his wounds from freaking Cooper. And then Cooper was the one that somehow survived. And then she took him out.
She took him out.
I
thought that, I love all the way they changed everything up. I think it still worked just as well. But yeah, she ends up becoming a part of the mob.
Yeah. Yeah, and I couldn't tell if she was trying to swerve them, like she was disgusted. I'm them, they're us, and we're them. But then and then the guy was like, "What?" It was like, whatever. And then she's like, "Just having fun." But then she wasn't having fun. But she learned how to use that weapon really fast.
Yeah.
And became really good with it.
Well, we don't know her background. We don't know what she did before there.
Nope, we do not know. Other than she didn't have a boyfriend and she had to drive 200 miles to see her mom.
Right.
They kind of downplayed that. They showed a picture of the mom on the tombstone, and then later you saw the mom walking, right? Mm-hmm. So it clearly was a recent, because she wasn't as decrepit. But I would have thought that they would have had that when she sees her mom. You saw her brother, you saw Johnny in the back of the truck. So he turned and was walking and got walking dead and he got taken out. And then they revisited the swerve zombie who had the funeral corsage in the neck, and she was mad and she took him out. But never the mom. They didn't pay off the mom. I thought they showed it front and center, so I wonder if that was one of the cut scenes.
I heard they had to cut her scene because she actually got injured or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so then it was just more of like the wink wink. But so here's the pitch. They remade Night of the Living Dead. They remade Dawn of the Dead. We need just remake Day of the Dead. Let's see what happens.
Oh, they've remade it several times, but in a poor fashion.
Oh, really? Not like high not high on the list, right? Or was it like direct to
video quality? But yeah, they're out there. I think there's several Day of the Dead remakes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
or like a series of them. They got Day of the Dead 1, 2, and 3.
Right, and that wasn't there since it was, since there was no copyright. It was Night of the Living Dead in 3D, Night of the Living Dead Part 2. Like a lot of people were trying to run with it, and that was the reason this film happened, right? When you were talking about the Golan Globulus feud, and they were going to try to rush to market with one, so he's like, "No, I'm going to get the OG."
Yeah.
So, like, we can still do that, right? We talked about that, right? We can, if we wanted to, we can make a prequel of Night of the Living Dead, and it's canon.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think. Was The Wizard of Oz the same way?
No.
No?
No.
So that one that Sam Raimi made, that was an official spin-off with the young wizard? That was an official prequel?
Well, I think it's spun off of the author's work. Roald Dahl.
Okay.
Roald Dahl, you know what I mean?
Yep. I was just looking that up here. But I don't know. I would like to see. I'd like to see directed by Greg Nicotero, Day of the Dead. But
do Romero's original script.
Yeah.
With everything that got cut, that could be solid.
That could be fun. You can even keep the caves. You can keep the bats, but I'd like to see where it was with a budget, because Greg Nicotero being in the movie, but he's part of that whole. He's part of the whole legacy.
Yeah.
He's part of that whole Pittsburgh legacy.
Yeah.
I'd love to see, like, the way he honored Creepshow. I'd love to see him honor Day of the Dead. And I feel like then we get that complete sequel. Friday, spoiler alert, we're going to have a Mario's Machete cut of how to watch these properly. But I know we have technically 2 trilogies, right, that are in there. But I'd like to see, it would be fun to actually have another trilogy added in here, a 3rd trilogy that falls under the remake trilogy.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fan of this one by Tom Savini, and I'm a fan of Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, and I think a Greg Nicotero Day of the Dead would be chef's kiss.
Original script,
and you can give money to the Romero Foundation that they have, so he's still a part of it, which I'm 100% sure he would do. So cool. Well, let's just do something. Two spots here really quick that I wanted to talk to you about. Speaking of, we're going to stay in the horror vein. What did you think of the Black Mirror trailer? Season premiere.
I haven't. I didn't see it.
It's in 2 weeks.
I didn't see it. What?
They're building this as 6 movies. Season 6 episode titles hint at frightening adventures.
So each episode is feature length?
Yeah, they're going to say each episode is feature length.
Okay. Well, I mean, that could be a thing. That's interesting.
All written by Charlie Brooker. So you're in good hands. But we got Joan is Awful. That's going to have Salma Hayek in it. An average woman is stunned to discover a global streaming platform has launched a prestige TV drama adaptation about her life in which she's portrayed by Hollywood as an awful person.
Like it. I like that idea.
You got Loch Henry. A young couple travel to a sleepy Scottish town to start work on a genteel nature documentary, but find themselves drawn to a juicy local story involving shocking events of the past. That's got Mahila Harrow, Danley Portman. Beyond the Sea. In an alternative 1969, 2 men on a perilous high-tech mission wrestle with the consequence of an unimaginable tragedy that's got Aaron Paul and Josh Hartnett coming back in our lives. So that's the one I believe that's in space. Zazie Betts is going to be in Maisie Day. A troubled starlet is dogged by invasive paparazzi while dealing with consequences of a hit-and-run incident. Speaking of Creepshow, thanks for the ride, lady. Mm-hmm. And then Demon 79. So this one was interesting because it said it's also made by production company Broken Bones and Red Mirror. So I don't know what it's at. So Demon 79, Northern England, 1979. A meek sales assistant is told she must commit terrible acts to prevent a disaster. So the series counts as Brooker's, all as executive producer, and comes from Brooker and Jones' production company, Broken Bones, and it's premiering in 2 weeks.
Wow.
We're getting some Black Mirror, some well-needed Black Mirror in our lives that are not, which, the world is completely different from the last time we experienced Black Mirror.
It's been a few years.
Yeah.
Since before 2020.
Yeah. So, which Bandersnatch, which was fantastic, the Choose Your Own Adventure. So, I'm a huge mark for Black Mirror. It falls up. I think this is going to really stand the test of time and feel like the Twilight Zone of the future errors to serve as a warning to others.
Yeah.
So, that's coming soon. So, again, if you jumped off that Netflix bandwagon, welcome back.
I am interested.
This is one of the shows that you got to come back for sure. And then another drop that started yesterday that we did not watch yet is Dark Side of the Ring returns to Vice TV.
That I will be tuning in for.
Yeah, probably tonight, possibly.
As soon as we go off the air.
Yeah. Likely. So what's great is coming back. I feel like Tales of the Territory did not get the love it deserved, and I think people need to go back and rewatch that because it just if you ever want to know what it's like to sit in the locker room with a bunch of veterans, watch Tales from the Territory.
Yeah.
That's all it is. They're just the veterans telling the stories, and then they're reenacting it for you. So this is perfect. But Dark Side of the Ring is the girl that they went to the prom with, so they're going to keep dancing with her. We get 10 new episodes with the first one, which was a big one. Chris Candido, Sonny and Skip, Tammy, R.I.P. for Chris Candido and Tammy, who's had a lot of problems. That's a big one. That one, excited is not the right word, but very curious because I told you last week I was doing enhancement talent work when Sonny and Skip first got there. And I had actually met them before they got there when I was working in NWA in Tennessee for Jim Crockett when he was having a comeback. And it was just and I remember Cornette talking to Tammy of just how she was going to be the next big thing, and they're definitely going to get a job in New York. That's what they called, you're getting a job with WWE. And then sure enough, months later, or they're there. Skip and Sonny, it was just like the exercise guru, and I was there, and I saw them like fighting, like going, not like fist fighting, but like it was a really small broom closet, and they were like face to face, like screaming at each other. And it wasn't until years later that you found out that, some stuff happened with her, and which alleged happened with Shawn Michaels and or Bret Hart. I don't know any of these. I can't confirm.
I don't know much about this story. Now I'm excited to watch the episode, though.
Yeah, and just like, you don't remember when Shawn called out Bret on TV? It's just like, looks like you've had sunnier days, and he was alluding to that they were having an affair.
Yeah, I remember that.
But then you also heard the rumors that Shawn, she was trying to get with Shawn, and oh man, it's just awful to hear, and seeing them fight tooth and nail. I just remember thinking at the time, not knowing the rumors, I'm like, man, you made it. You're at the top of wrestling right now. What could be so bad that you're screaming at each other like that? And then 2 years later to find out. So I'm very curious how that's going to be portrayed. So that's the first episode. But then we're going to get Magnum TA, Terry Allen, for all you old school NWA fans. Magnum TA, who looked like Magnum PI, who later kind of looked like Razor Ramon, ironically, was going to be the next Hulk Hogan. He was the one that was anointed that he was going to be the next Hulk Hogan. That's how big he was. That's how he was selling tickets, how many tickets he was selling. And then he got in a pretty bad accident, and then his career was done. Adrian Adonis, adorable Adrian. That's going to be a great episode. Junkyard Dog, really sad. I actually met Junkyard Dog a few times. He was a great guy.
You?
I did. JYD, man. He's exactly how you'd expect him to be. So I'm curious because I don't know how much darkness is in there other than he unfortunately passed away asleep at the wheel, which happened a lot for wrestlers back then.
Damn.
Yeah, I feel like this season is like a lot of people of my generation. Like I knew Chris and Sonny. I wrestled Doink the Clown. I was there with JYD. I wrestled Marty Jannetty, who's getting his own episode as well. He was a great guy, but he had a lot of substance abuse issues. I'm sure they're going to touch on that. And then we get Bam Bam Bigelow and Abdullah the Butcher. Then we're going to get that Bash of the Beach incident. I'm assuming that's going to be the Jim Cornette, man. Batting down your hatches, Vince Russo, because we're going to get a lot of Vince Russo heat in that episode. Bro, you don't understand at that time. And then the Graham family, which is, basically what I would say the Von Erich family is to Texas, is the Graham family to Florida, which had a lot to do with seasoning a lot of the stars of the day. So that's a pretty powerful. They packed a lot of power in this one.
Yeah.
You thought you were going to run out of episodes, but because you're like, sadly enough, wrestling's never short of tragedies.
There's plenty.
But the ones that I'm curious about too is JYD and Adrian Adonis, because you don't remember hearing any kind of scandals during their career.
Yeah.
But it's just unfortunately, another one. You know how Adrian Adonis died, right?
No.
It was they had to swerve off an icy road in Canada to avoid a moose and died. And it was a van full of wrestlers, which was very common back then. And he died in that a little bit after his famous WrestleMania 3 Roddy Piper versus Adrian Adonis retirement versus hair match. So that's going to be, I guess they're just going to really touch on a lot of stuff. So they're not as dark as the tragedies as say like Bruiser Brody getting stabbed. But it's still a pretty solid season, so looking forward to that. So yeah, let's put a bow on this and go watch that episode, shall we?
I definitely want to go see that. Yeah, there's a lot. Too much entertainment to keep up with at the moment.
See, we started talking about streaming and we're ending with streaming because again, there's just when you think there's not going to be much on to stream, then all of a sudden these shows randomly pop out of nowhere, and we talk about each streamer having something you need to watch. Even Vice has something that you want to watch.
Yeah. And they're bankrupt. They're gone. They're not even in business anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why have they not been gobbled up? A lot of people wait to watch their stuff on Hulu. So how they still going?
I don't know. I don't know how media economics work. That's why I have a YouTube show.
Yes. We know how this one works.
Yeah.
We just turn on the light and we just go. Cool. So we'll be back. Next week we're gonna have the Geek Commander back in the house, B Rose, and we're gonna be talking about Across the Spider-Verse, and we will find out if this really is the best comic book movie of all time, which is the hype it's getting. So
go get tickets. It's hard to get tickets. It's selling out.
Yeah, it's selling out. The hype is real. With great power comes great responsibility. So we'll see you next week.